My grandfather lived through 3 major blackouts in his life and never panicked once. Not the ice storm of 1978 that took down power across most of the upper Midwest. Not the Northeast blackout of 2003. Not the 7-day stretch in southern Florida after Hurricane Andrew. He was calm in every one of them, and the reason had nothing to do with equipment. He did not own a generator until he was almost 70. He did not own a single battery bank. He never once bought freeze-dried food. What he had was a set of small techniques. Some of them came from his father, who had grown up without electricity. Some of them he figured out himself in his 30s. Most of them cost less than $5 to set up. After he passed, my grandmother handed me a notebook he had kept since the late 1960s. Inside were 43 of these techniques written in pencil, in the order he considered them most useful, numbered, annotated. Some had small drawings. I am not going to tell you these 43 hacks are going to keep you alive in a long grid collapse. They are not survival theater. They will not save you from a 6-month catastrophe. What they are is the practical, quiet knowledge that 2 generations of people used every single time the lights went out. Knowledge that almost disappeared because the grid got reliable enough that nobody bothered learning it. The grid is no longer that reliable. So today, I'm walking you through every single one of these 43 hacks in his order, with his notes. Before we start, the full survival research documentation that I cross-referenced these against is in the description below this video. It is the most complete civilian preparedness reference I have found, and it organizes hacks like these into a working system. Link below. We start with light, because that is what disappears first. Hack number 1, the olive oil lamp. A small glass jar, ½ inch of olive oil, a piece of cotton string sticking out of a strip of aluminum foil rolled into a wick holder. Burns clean for roughly 4 hours per ounce of oil. Almost no smoke. My grandfather used these in the kitchen during every outage he lived through. Hack number 2, the Crisco can candle. A standard can of vegetable shortening with a cotton wick pushed straight down into the center. Lit, it produces a steady flame for 45 days continuous. He kept 3 of these on a shelf and rotated them yearly. Hack number 3, the reflective wall. A single candle in front of a sheet of aluminum foil taped flat to the wall behind it puts out roughly twice the usable light. He learned this from a railway worker in 1972. Costs nothing, works every time. Hack number 4, the water bottle diffuser. A clear plastic bottle filled with water placed directly above a flashlight pointing up turns a single beam into a soft room-sized glow. He used this for kids reading at night during outages. Hack number 5, the frozen glow stick. A glow stick activated and dropped into a pre-frozen water bottle lasts roughly 3 times longer than at room temperature. He kept 12 in a coffee can in the freezer at all times. Hack number 6, the solar yard light rotation. Cheap solar pathway lights from a hardware store, charged outside during the day, brought inside at night. 3 of them light a kitchen for the whole evening. He had 8 of them. Hack number 7, the headlamp swap. A regular flashlight rubber banded to the brim of a baseball cap functions as a hands-free headlamp. He swore by this for everything from cooking to fixing the generator he eventually bought. Let me tell you a quick story. Ron is 58, lives outside Sandpoint, Idaho. Carpenter for 40 years, built his current cabin himself, 7 acres, off-grid for 9 years now. His wife Janet passed in 2017. His kids are grown and on the coast. When he went off-grid, he had the basics handled. Solar, water from the well, wood heat. What he didn't have was Janet's knowledge. Janet had grown up on a farm in Montana. She knew how to put up tomatoes, how to cure pork, how to do a real root cellar with airflow and humidity control. Ron had eaten the food his whole adult life. He had never paid attention to how it got made. The first winter alone, he tried to preserve a deer. He did it wrong. 3/4 of the meat was unsafe by January. He threw it out. 40 hours of butchering, gone because he didn't know what he didn't know. A friend in town, a woman who'd grown up Mennonite, gave him the survival research documentation as a gift. Ron read the section on traditional preservation twice. Most of it was things he'd watched Janet do, finally explained on paper. The salt cure ratios, the drying times, the cellar conditions, the fact that his cellar was too dry by about 15% humidity, which explained why his potatoes had gone soft by February. The fact that you can lose an entire harvest by storing apples next to potatoes because of ethylene. Today, April 2026, Ron is into year 4 of running his property the way Janet would have if she'd lived. He didn't become her. He became someone who could read the knowledge she carried and apply it. The complete survival research documentation costs less than what Ron lost in that first ruined deer. 7 days money back guarantee, link in the description. When the grid fails, knowledge doesn't. Back to the hacks. Quick reminder, everything I'm walking you through today is cross-referenced against the survival research documentation linked below. If even 3 of these 43 save you a single bad night, the document has paid for itself many times over. 7-day money-back guarantee. Continuing. Now we move to power and communications, hacks 8 through 14. Hack number 8, The car's power station. A standard sedan running on idle puts out enough power through a $15 inverter to run a refrigerator in cycles. 20 minutes on, 40 minutes off. Idle the car outside the open garage door. Run an extension cord. My grandfather did this through a 36-hour outage in 1994. Hack number 9, the fridge rule. A closed refrigerator holds safe temperature for 4 hours. A closed full freezer holds safe temperature for 48 hours. He wrote in pencil on his fridge, "Do not open until needed." We never lost food to an outage in his house. Hack number 10, the frozen bottle pre-fill. Empty space in a freezer wastes cold. Pre-filled water bottles in every empty corner extend safe storage to almost 72 hours. He kept 20 bottles in his chest freezer at all times. Hack number 11, the phone airplane mode trick. A cell phone in airplane mode loses about 70% less battery than one searching for signal. During a tower outage, this can be the difference between a phone that survives the second day and one that does not. Hack number 12, the hand crank radio. A basic emergency radio with hand crank, solar panel, and phone charging port runs about $30. He had 2. He listened to the AM weather band every morning during outages, always knew when restoration crews were close. Hack number 13, the dashboard solar panel. A folding solar charger left on the dashboard of a car during the day fully charges a power bank in roughly 6 hours of sun. He used a cheap 5-watt panel that charged everything he needed. Hack number 14, the candle phone slow charge. He wrote this one down with a warning. A small thermoelectric generator that sits on a tea light slowly trickle charges a phone over several hours. It is not fast. But when nothing else works, slow is better than nothing. Now water. Hacks 15 through 22. Hack number 15, the bathtub fill. A standard bathtub holds roughly 50 gallons. Filled before a storm hits, it gives a family of 4 about 12 days of flushing water and roughly 4 days of drinking water once filtered. Hack number 16, the garbage bag bladder. A heavy-duty trash bag placed inside the bathtub before filling keeps the water clean even if the tub itself is not pristine. He kept a stack of these specifically for this purpose. Hack number 17, the water heater tap. The hot water tank in your house holds between 40 and 80 gallons of safe drinking water. Shut off the inlet valve, attach a hose to the drain valve, drain into containers. Use this water last because once you tap it, you cannot refill without grid water. Hack number 18, the bleach math. 8 drops of standard unscented household bleach per gallon of clear water makes it safe to drink after 30 minutes. 16 drops per gallon if the water is cloudy. He kept a marked dropper in a Ziploc bag inside his water storage bin. Hack number 19, the solar disinfection method. A clear plastic water bottle laid flat in direct sun for 6 hours kills nearly all pathogens. 6 hours minimum on a sunny day, 2 days minimum if the sky is cloudy. The science is real. He used this in the Florida outage. Hack number 20, the coffee filter pre-filter. Layered cloth, paper coffee filter, and a sock filled with sand and gravel removes most particulates before chemical treatment. He drew the layered diagram in his notebook. It works. Hack number 21, the toilet flush rule. A toilet flushes with 1 gallon of water poured firmly into the bowl. You do not need the tank to fill. He wrote, never waste drinking water on a flush. Hack number 22, the pool reserve. A residential swimming pool, even a small one, holds tens of thousands of gallons of usable water for flushing, washing, and after filtration drinking. Treat any pool water as non-potable until run through chemical and physical filtration. Now food and cooking. Hacks 23 through 30. Hack number 23, the grill as kitchen. A standard propane grill with a side burner operating outdoors is a full kitchen. He cooked Thanksgiving dinner on his back porch during the 1998 ice storm. Never went hungry. Hack number 24, the flower pot oven. 2 terracotta flower pots stacked over 4 lit candles produces enough trapped heat to bake biscuits in roughly 30 minutes. The technique was a Depression-era survival skill. He passed it down to my mother. Hack number 25, the solar cooker. A cardboard box lined with aluminum foil, a dark pot inside, plastic wrap over the top, angled toward the sun. Reaches roughly 250 degrees Fahrenheit on a clear day. Slow cooks beans, rice, vegetables. Takes patience. Hack number 26. The eating order. Refrigerator first within 24 hours. Freezer second within 48 hours. Pantry last because shelf-stable food has no clock. He wrote this rule in capital letters. Hack number 27. The dry good rotation. Rice, beans, oats, salt, sugar, flour, dry milk. He kept 90 days of these in food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. The buckets cost $5 each at a hardware store. The food was about $100 total. Lasted decades sealed. Hack number 28. The salt cure basics. 1 pound of pickling salt per 10 pounds of meat. Packed tight, kept at 38 degrees Fahrenheit for a week per inch of thickness. Old technique, real preservation. He used it on hams every December. Hack number 29, the pickling brine. 3% salt by weight in cool water preserves cucumbers, peppers, carrots, and cabbage for months without refrigeration. He kept 5-gallon crocks in the basement. Hack number 30, the cool burying. A clay pot inside a larger clay pot, the gap filled with damp sand kept in shade. Drops the inner temperature by 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit through evaporation. Called a Zier pot. Works in dry climates. Now heat. Hacks 31 through 36. Hack number 31, the single room rule. Close every door in the house, heat one room. He wrote, a family of 4 sharing one bedroom can hold the temperature with body heat alone if the room is properly sealed. Hack number 32, the bubble wrap window. Standard packing bubble wrap, lightly misted with water, pressed flat against a window pane. Adds roughly an R1 of insulation. Comes off clean in spring. He bubble wrapped the north-facing windows every November. Hack number 33, the blanket layering. Wool over cotton over body. Wool retains roughly 70% of insulation when wet. Cotton loses almost all of it. He had 3 wool blankets per bed. Hack number 34, the pre-warmed bed. A wrapped hot water bottle placed under the blankets. 15 minutes before sleep raises the bed temperature by 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Old hospital trick. Works. Hack number 35, the basement retreat. The basement of most houses sits at roughly 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. In a long winter outage with no heat, the basement is warmer than the upstairs by 20 degrees. Sleep down there if needed. Hack number 36, the candle warning. A 4-wick paraffin candle puts out enough heat to warm a small bathroom slightly. He wrote in his notebook, this is not a heater, do not rely on it. Carbon monoxide is real. Now safety and the final hacks. 37 through 43. Hack number 37, the generator distance rule. 20 feet from any window, door, or vent. No exceptions. He underlined this 3 times in his notebook. Carbon monoxide kills more people during outages than the coal does. Hack number 38, the battery-powered carbon monoxide detector. $20. Lasts 10 years. He had one in every bedroom and one in the room with a propane heater. Never had a scare. Hack number 39, the flashlight before opening. Never open the refrigerator without the flashlight already on and ready. The shorter the door is open, the longer the food stays safe. Hack number 40, the window thermal cover. A wool blanket pinned over a window at night blocks roughly 30% of heat loss. Up by day to let sun in, down by night to keep heat in. Hack number 41, the communication plan. He kept a single index card with meeting location if separated, names of 3 out-of-state contacts, the address of the nearest hospital, and the approximate location of the family medical records. Index cards cost almost nothing. Plans cost less. Hack number 42, the cash reserve, $300 in small bills, in a sealed envelope in a fire safe. Cards do not work in a long outage. The bills do. He restocked it once a year. Hack number 43, the waterproof document bag. Birth certificates, social security cards, deed copies, insurance papers, marriage license, immunization records, all in a 1-gallon Ziploc inside a heavier dry bag inside the fire safe. He could be out the door with everything that mattered in under 2 minutes. That is the full notebook. 43 hacks, in his order. Most of them cost almost nothing. None of them require a degree. None of them require a prepper identity. If even one of these 43 hacks made you stop and think today, drop a comment below with the number. I read everyone. The 3 hacks I could not fit in this video are pinned in the top comment for anyone who wants the full set. 3 things to take from all of this. First, none of these hacks alone keeps you alive. Together they make a system that handles 3 to 7 days of grid failure without panic. Second, the people who came through the long outages of the last 50 years rarely had the best gear. They had the best habits. Third, this knowledge almost died because the grid got reliable enough that no one needed it. The grid is no longer that reliable. If you want the complete survival research documentation that organizes these and the rest into a working system you can build at your own pace, the link is below this video. 7 days money-back guarantee, no questions asked. And subscribe to the survival research if you want more grandpa-era knowledge that is more useful now than it has been in 50 years. The next video drops in 3 days. A last word before I close. The notebook my grandfather kept is still in my desk. I read it once a year, not because I need to, because the act of reading it reminds me that the difference between panic and competence in a long outage is almost never about money or gear. It is about 100 small habits, accumulated quietly over decades, by people who treated electricity as a privilege rather than a guarantee. That is the mindset behind every hack you heard today. Not paranoia, not survivalist fantasy, just the calm and spectacular competence of someone who knows what to do in the dark. When the grid fails, knowledge doesn't. See you on the next one.